At 7:12 a.m., I watched a woman I barely knew jam a shiny master key into my car door, then call 911 on me when it failed. What she didn't know. She was reporting the county sheriff, and she just triggered the biggest mistake of her life. That morning was supposed to be quiet. No sirens. No drama. No clipboard patrols. Just coffee, sunrise, and a peaceful start to the day. Instead, I stepped onto my front porch holding a steaming mug and saw a woman aggressively yanking on my car door like she was trying to break into it. She wasn't a stranger. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her. HOA Karen. She stood there in her pink blazer, oversized sunglasses, and that familiar laminated badge hanging from her neck like she was some kind of furniture store security guard. In her hand was a shiny brass key, thick, heavy, and very confidently being forced into my car's lock. She twisted. It didn't turn. She twisted harder. Still nothing. She huffed, rolled her eyes dramatically, and tried again. That's when she noticed me. Her face snapped toward me, eyes narrowing behind those ridiculous sunglasses. "This is a violation," she said sharply. I blinked. "Good morning to you too." She ignored that. All vehicles in this community are required to provide HOA emergency access. Your refusal is suspicious. I looked at her. Then at the key. Then back at her. "Ma'am," I said calmly, "you don't have permission to touch my car." She scoffed like I'd just told her gravity was optional. "I don't need your permission," she said. "I have master access." Master access. To my personal vehicle. Before I could even respond, she pulled out her phone with dramatic flair. "I'm calling the police," she snapped. "You're obstructing a safety inspection." And then, she dialed 911. Now, to understand just how insane that moment was, you need to understand who Karen was. Karen had been the HOA president for nearly 4 years. Nobody voted her in. She just declared it one day. At first, she started small. Wrong trash can lids. Grass too tall by half an inch. Someone parked facing the wrong direction. Annoying stuff. But then it escalated. Fast. She once fined a guy because his porch light was too aggressive. Another family got cited because their garage door opened too loudly. And God help you if your car offended her in any way. Red was hostile. Black was suspicious. Trucks were intimidation devices. But my car? My car was her obsession. From the moment I moved in, she watched it like a hawk. She claimed it was militaristic. That it made people feel unsafe. That its presence disrupted the visual harmony of the neighborhood. It was just a vehicle. But to Karen? It was a threat to her imaginary empire. A week after I moved in, she left a citation on my windshield. It read, "Unauthorized vehicle presence, $45 fine." I laughed and threw it away. Next week? Another one. Excessive engine authority. Then came improper visual dominance. I stopped throwing them away and started saving them. Just in case. One afternoon she knocked on my door holding her clipboard like a weapon. "We need a copy of your keys," she said. I actually thought she was joking. "A copy of my what?" "Your vehicle keys," she said confidently. "For emergency HOA access." I told her no. She stared at me like I had committed treason. "We'll revisit this," she said coldly. And apparently, she meant that literally. Because now she stood in my driveway, twisting a fake master key into my lock, convinced the universe owed her access to my property. She paced while on the phone, speaking loudly on purpose. "Yes, I'd like to report a suspicious male refusing a mandatory HOA inspection," she said. "He's obstructing safety procedures." "Yes, I fear for community safety." She pointed at me while talking. Like I was the criminal. I said nothing. Just leaned against my porch railing and sipped my coffee. Neighbors began peeking through windows. One couple even stepped outside pretending to water their plants just to watch. Karen hung up and smiled smugly. "They're on their way," she said. "You should cooperate now." I smiled back. "Sure," I said. "Let's wait." 6 minutes later, a patrol car turned onto our street. Then another. 2 deputies stepped out. Karen immediately transformed. Her posture softened. Her voice became sweet. Her hands clasped together like she was a concerned angel. "Thank goodness you're here," she said. "This man refused to submit to HOA inspection and possibly stole this vehicle." The deputies looked at me. Then at my car. One asked, "Is this your vehicle, sir?" "Yes," I said calmly. Karen scoffed. "According to neighborhood standards, that remains unverified." One of the deputies raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am," he said, "do you have proof this vehicle isn't his?" She hesitated. "It didn't open with the master key," she snapped. The deputy paused. "The what key?" She proudly held it up. "HOA master key." The second deputy slowly turned his head toward his partner. I could tell they were both trying very hard not to laugh. "Ma'am," one finally said, "HOAs don't issue master keys for private vehicles." "Well, they should," she shot back. The deputy sighed. "Did you damage the lock while trying to open it?" Her eyes widened. "He should thank me for checking it." That was when the first warning was issued. They told her to step away from my property and stop interfering with my vehicle. She clenched her jaw. This wasn't over. And I knew it. As the deputies talked quietly with me, Karen stood fuming in the driveway. Neighbors slowly gathered. Watching. Listening. Whispering. One neighbor muttered, "Did she really try to unlock his car?" Another said, "She's finally done it now." The deputy turned back to her. "Ma'am, you are being warned. Any further interference will result in consequences." Her smile was gone. She nodded stiffly. But as the patrol cars pulled away, she leaned toward me and whispered through clenched teeth, "This isn't finished." I believed her. That evening, I came back from town with groceries. It was peaceful. Too peaceful. As I turned into my street, my headlights caught something metallic at the edge of my driveway. A tow truck. Parked. Engine running. The driver stood beside it, studying his paperwork. I parked and stepped out. "Everything okay?" I asked. He squinted at the paper. "HOA reported an abandoned vehicle for removal," he said. "Guessing that's it." He pointed at my car. I exhaled slowly. "That vehicle moved 4 hours ago." He frowned. "She said it hadn't moved in weeks." I stepped closer. "I'm the owner." His face changed instantly. "Oh." Then. "Oh, man." He quickly folded the paper. "She didn't mention that." He rushed into the cab. "I'm leaving. Right now." And as he drove away, I stood there in the driveway, staring at the dark silhouette of my car under the streetlight. That was no longer harassment. That was escalation. I stepped inside, set my groceries down, and took a deep breath. Karen had gone from fake fines to break-in attempts, to false police reports, to attempted vehicle theft. And something told me she wasn't finished. Because at exactly 6:03 the next morning, I stepped outside. And my car was no longer resting on its tire. It was sitting inside a massive yellow wheel clamp. A laminated sign dangled from it. HOA impound, non-compliant vehicle. And behind me, I heard her sandals approaching. Slow. Confident. Victorious. And that's when I realized. She hadn't just crossed a boundary. She had committed a crime. The bright yellow wool clamp looked absurd against my dark tire. Heavy-duty steel. Industrial lock. A dangling laminated warning sign that read, HOA impound, unauthorized vehicle. Before I could even fully process what I was seeing, I heard slow, cheap sandals dragging across concrete behind me. Click. Clack. Click. I didn't turn around. I already knew who it was. Well, Karen said smugly from behind me, since you wouldn't cooperate. I had to escalate. I turned. She was grinning. Real proud of herself. You put a boot on my car? I asked calmly. Yes, she said. And it will remain there until you settle your violations and provide a copy of your keys to the HOA. I stared at her for a long moment. Then I said quietly, you just committed a felony. She laughed. Don't be dramatic. You illegally restricted a private vehicle without lawful authority, I said. That's unlawful detention of property. She crossed her arms. I'm authorized. No, I said evenly. You're not. Her smile twisted. Well, she said, you're not going anywhere now, are you? I looked down at the clamp again. Then I reached into my back pocket, pulled out my wallet, and opened it. I held up my badge. Gold. Heavy. Very real. Karen's smile froze. This is the part where you stop talking, I said, and start listening. Her lips parted slightly. You're lying. I stepped closer and let the sunlight hit the badge. County Sheriff. Her face drained. Color vanished. Her confidence collapsed in real time. You never said. You never asked, I replied. Behind us, curtains pulled back. A garage door opened. A neighbor stepped outside. Karen swallowed hard. This is still an HOA matter, she stammered. No, I said. This is a criminal matter now. My radio crackled on my belt. I pressed a button. Unit 12 requesting immediate presence at my residence, I said. We have unlawful detention of property and impersonation of authority. Karen backed up a step. For the first time since I'd met her. She looked afraid. You can't do this, she snapped suddenly, trying to recover. This is retaliation. No, I said calmly. This is documentation. She raised her voice so the neighbors could hear. He's abusing power. He refused HOA compliance and now he's threatening me. 2 more neighbors stepped outside. Phones were out now. Recording. Perfect. Ma'am, I said, you attempted to break into my vehicle, filed a false police report, attempted illegal towing, and now applied an unlawful immobilization device. She sputtered. I was protecting the neighborhood. The neighborhood, I said, is watching you commit crimes. She glanced around. Too late. The patrol car rolled in fast. 2 deputies stepped out. Same ones as yesterday. Their expressions changed immediately when they saw the boot. Is this the clamp? One asked. Yes, I replied. Karen rushed forward. He's lying. He. Step back, the deputy ordered. She froze. The second deputy circled the car, inspecting the clamp. Do you have a permit? He asked her. She hesitated. An authorization? Silence. Ma'am, he said, this device is industrial grade. Where did you get it? She swallowed. Online. Under whose authority did you apply it? She whispered, the HOA. The deputy exhaled slowly. There is no legal authority here. He looked at me. You want to proceed? I nodded. Yes. Karen's knees buckled slightly. Before they even uncuffed her, something unexpected happened. A neighbor stepped forward. She's been doing this to everyone, he said. Threatening, fining, stalking. Another joined. She came into my backyard last month. A woman spoke up. She harassed my daughter over chalk drawings on the driveway. Phones were everywhere now. Karen spun in place. You're all liars. The deputy raised a hand. Ma'am, you are being detained for questioning. The words landed like a hammer. Detained. Not consulted. Not warned. Detained. They placed cuffs on her wrists. The same wrists that once held the clipboard like a weapon. The same hands that believed they ruled this street. And walked her toward the patrol car. She screamed over her shoulder. This isn't over. But nobody was listening anymore. Within 48 hours, the neighborhood was in chaos. Emergency HOA meeting. Every seat filled. Standing room only. Karen's seat at the front? Empty. The vice president stood shaking. We are under investigation. Gasps rippled through the room. I didn't sit on the front row. I stood in the back. Watching. Listening. One by one, residents stepped forward. Stories poured out. Threats. Harassment. Extortion. Illegal fines. Surveillance. The deeper it went, the uglier it became. Then the voting began. Removal of HOA president. The result? Unanimous. Not one vote in her favor. She returned 3 days later. No clipboard. No badge. No sunglasses. Just rage. She stood in the middle of the street screaming at people. You ruined everything. No one answered. Her power was gone. The tow company cut off the boot without charge. The HOA issued official apologies. Several residents joined the lawsuit. And Karen? She didn't make it another week. A moving truck arrived. Silently. Quickly. No goodbye. No victory speech. Just boxes. And shame. A week later, something strange happened. Peace. Kids rode bikes again. People left their garage doors open. Neighbors waved. Not out of fear, but relief. I sat on my porch one evening, coffee in hand again. Same place. Same view. Different neighborhood. One of the deputies drove by slowly and nodded. I nodded back. It was over. 3 months later, I got a call from another county. New HOA president. Same name. Same behavior. Different street. Different luck. I smiled. Some people don't change. They just move.